The back gate lay mangled on the grass like a discarded prop from a bad cop show. Shards of glass from the patio door sparkling under the Texas sun as if mocking the chaos. My wife clutched her arm, blood trickling down, her eyes wide with shock as she staggered up from the flower bed she'd been thrown into. And there, turning slowly with a smug grin that screamed, "I own this neighborhood," stood the fake security thug hired by our HOA Queen Bee, his uniform as phony as his authority, and me, with a shotgun aimed square at his chest. Finger itching but steady, knowing one squeeze could end this farce legally, but choosing not to pull it just yet. Before I dive deeper, drop in the comments where you're tuning in from. Dallas? Chicago? Or maybe right here in the Houston suburbs where HOA drama hits like a heat wave. Hit that subscribe button if you're hooked on these tales of petty tyrants getting their comeuppance, because this one's a doozy of dark laughs and sweet justice. Now, let's rewind 3 weeks to when our slice of suburban paradise started cracking under the weight of rules so absurd they'd make you chuckle if they weren't ruining lives. It was one of those crisp October mornings in Willow Bend Estates, a gated enclave 40 miles west of Houston, where the American dream supposedly thrived. Manicured lawns, white picket fences, and an HOA that promised community harmony, but delivered suffocating control. My wife, Sophia, and I had poured our savings into this place after my stint as a software engineer in the military tech sector and her years grinding as a school teacher. We'd renovated the house top to bottom, turning it into our haven. Fresh paint, a cozy back porch for coffee sunrises, and dreams of kids filling the extra rooms. That Tuesday, we sipped our brews watching the dawn paint the sky, feeling like we'd finally escaped the rat race. "This is it, babe," I said, clinking mugs. "No more chaos." Famous last words. I headed out for work, cruising past the community's ornate gate, when I spotted it. A dingy white sedan with enforcement, slapped on the side in peeling vinyl, parked like a sentinel. Behind the wheel sat a woman in her 50s, hair pulled into a severe bun, clipboard poised like a weapon, eyes scanning every passing car as if hunting for sinners. I waved casually, neighborly vibe, right? She didn't blink, just stared daggers until I turned the corner. Brushed it off as morning grumpiness. Little did I know, that was Karen Caldwell, the HOA president's right-hand busybody, and she was about to turn our dream home into a nightmare comedy of errors. Sophia called me at lunch, her voice tight like a coiled spring. Some lady from the HOA just showed up at the door, grilling me about why our recycling bin was visible from the street. I chuckled at first. Visible? It was tucked by the garage. But Sophia wasn't laughing. She said it's a visual blight violating Section 4.2 of the covenants. Stepped right up to the threshold, peering inside like she owned the place. When I told her it's our property and none of her business, she smirked and said, "Standards must be upheld for the greater good." Creepy as hell. I asked for details. Prim outfit, name tag reading Karen Caldwell, compliance officer, voice dripping with fake politeness that masked pure condescension. That evening, I dug online. Willow Bend HOA's compliance team wasn't licensed anywhere. No state records. No nothing. In Texas, you can't play cop without creds. Red flag number 1. But I kept quiet, observing. Rumors had already started swirling about us online in the neighborhood Facebook group. New folks on Elm Street think rules don't apply. Watch out for slobs dragging down property values. Posted anonymously, of course, but I suspected Karen's fingerprints. Next day, our neighbor, Old man Jerry Ruiz, a retired mechanic with a no-nonsense mustache, ambled over while I mowed the lawn. "You met Karen yet?" he asked, glancing around like we were plotting a heist. I nodded. His face darkened. "She's a piece of work. Former real estate agent who got booted for shady deals. Now she's the HOA's attack dog, enforcing nonsense to keep her boss, Patricia Voss, in power. Patricia's the president. Talks a big game about community values, but it's all about control." Jerry leaned in. "I got fined for my truck's oil spot on the driveway. Complained. And next thing, whispers started. Jerry's a hoarder. My garage is spotless. Be careful, they twist everything." I thanked him, but inside, gears turned. That afternoon, I added discreet cameras around the house. Not paranoia, preparation. If this was a game, I play smart. 3 days later, the first official notice hit our mailbox. Violation. Unauthorized lawn ornamentation. Fine. $125. The ornament? A tiny solar light Sophia had stuck in the flowerbed for ambience. I stared at the paper, signed by Karen Caldwell in loopy script that screamed self-importance. "This is ridiculous," Sophia muttered, but we paid it quietly. Didn't want to rock the boat yet. But the whispers amplified. Group posts calling us troublemakers who disrespect traditions. I screenshot everything, building a digital dossier. Patience was my weapon. I'd been smeared in the military once over a false report. Learned to bide time and strike with facts. The fines snowballed, each more laughably petty than the last. Mailbox flag at a non-regulation angle, $1.75. Grass blades, uneven by 0.25 inches, $100. Even our welcome mat got dinged for fading color impacting curb appeal. $450 racked up in a week. What killed me wasn't the money, it was the surveillance. Karen's sedan cruised by daily, slowing to snap photos like a paparazzo stalking celebrities. One evening, Sophia caught her peering over the fence with binoculars. For compliance checks, Karen called out sweetly when spotted, but her eyes said control freak. I confronted Jerry again. "It's retaliation," he whispered. "Patricia's family owns half the vendors the HOA hires. Landscaping, maintenance. They skim off the top. Karen enforces to keep the cash flowing. Challenge her, and she sicks the rumor mill on you. Bingo." Public records showed Patricia's husband ran Voss services, billing the HOA thousands monthly for consulting. Conflict much? The absurdity peaked on a sunny Saturday. I was washing the car when Karen pulled up, stepping out in her starched blouse, pearls clutching her neck like a noose of propriety. "Mr. Harlan," she said, voice honeyed venom, "your vehicle drip is creating a hazard. Come with me to the office for documentation." I wiped my hands. Calm. "Hazard? It's water on my driveway." She puffed up. "Per bylaw 7.1, all fluids must be contained. Non-compliance affects us all." I laughed, couldn't help it. "Karen, you're not a cop. Show me the rule that lets you drag me anywhere." Her face twisted, that mix of outrage and entitlement. "I represent the board. Standards protect property values." She stepped onto my drive. "Stop," I said firmly. She ignored, advancing. "Private property, Karen." "Leave." She halted, smirking. "Inspections are authorized. Show the paper." Silence. Then, "You'll regret defying the community." I pointed to the camera. Recorded. Trespassing's a crime here. She backed off, fuming, but not before hissing. This neighborhood doesn't need rebels like you. As she drove off, I backed up the footage. Game on. That night, Sophia confided her unease. She's been circling the block all day. Stopped once, just staring at the windows. Her hands trembled slightly. Feels like we're prisoners in our own home. I held her, but rage simmered. No more silence. Monday, I filed a FOIA for Patricia's HOA financials and emailed the board demanding a meeting. Patricia's reply was classic. Ms. Caldwell is a dedicated volunteer upholding our cherished guidelines. Concerns should follow protocol. Volunteer? With that sedan? Lies. Jerry filled in more. Patricia had ignored his complaints, then spread tales he was unstable. Car vandalized days later. She's terrified of losing her throne. Dues fund her lifestyle. Camera logs showed Karen's car passing 12 times in one day. Morning coffee run, lunch creep, evening stakeout. This wasn't enforcement. It was obsession wrapped in bureaucracy. I hired a lawyer, Lisa Moreno, HOA slayer extraordinaire. Over coffee in her office, she reviewed my folder. Classic power trip. No real authority, just intimidation. We've got harassment here, maybe stalking. She fired off a cease and desist. Stop all contact, or face court. Delivered certified mail. Karen's response? Parked brazenly out front the next morning. Engine purring like a challenge. Sophia called me at work. Voice flat. She's here. Again. I dialed the sheriff. Deputy Mike Torres showed. Chatted with her through the window. She left slowly, waving cheerily at the house. Torres called back. She's a regular. Thinks her HOA badge trumps law. Careful if she pushes. Castle doctrine applies. Defend your home. Lisa's PI dug gold. Voss Services overbilled $12,000 monthly for phantom work. 3 buried complaints against Karen. Harassment, all quashed by Patricia. 1 victim, elderly widow Mabel Green, still lived nearby. I visited. She peeked through curtains before opening. Karen fined me for my cat's collar color. When I fought, rumors flew. Mabel's senile. Scared me silent. More victims. A young couple fined for loud laughter at a barbecue. The web of absurdity grew. The breaking point came 3 weeks in. A humid afternoon. I was at work when Sophia's panicked call hit. Someone's breaking in. Rushing home. Heart pounding. I found the gate smashed. Patio door shattered. Sophia in the yard. Bruised. Pointing inside. There stood Karen's enforcer buddy. A burly guy in a knockoff uniform. Chest puffed. Yelling about final inspection. This is for the community's sake, he bellowed as I burst in, grabbing my legally stored pistol from the safe. Freeze, I commanded, aiming steady. He turned, hands up, but smirking. HOA authority, Sophia. Wiping blood. Spat. Authority? You assaulted me over a damn flower pot. Neighbors gawked. Sirens wailed. Deputies arrested him for burglary and assault. Karen arrived minutes later. Clipboard flapping. This is a misunderstanding. He's enforcing bylaws. Torres cuffed her too for aiding. Bylaws don't cover home invasion. Ma'am, the HOA meeting that night was fireworks. Patricia presided. All smiles. Order, please. Tonight's agenda, pool hours. I stood, Projector ready. Agenda change. Corruption. Slides flashed. Fines tally. Overbills. Dismissed complaints. Murmurs rose. Patricia knew her enforcer was unlicensed, I said, showing docs. Hired him to bully, while Voss pockets dues. Gasped. Mabel stood. Karen called me crazy for questioning fines. Jerry. Vandalism after complaints. A dad. My kid fined for chalk drawings? Permanent defacement? Laughter mixed with anger. Patricia spluttered. These are baseless. I protect values. I clicked. Her signature on shady contracts. Values like embezzlement? The room roared. Vote to dissolve the board. Seconded. Patricia objected. Procedure. Lisa quoted bylaws. Emergency oust allowed. Overwhelming yes. Patricia stormed out. But Torres waited. Diaz reviewing finances. The grand jury hit fast. Patricia's nephew, the enforcer, flipped first, admitting orders to handle resistors. Emails surfaced. Patricia to Karen. Make the Harlans uncomfortable. Bonus if they move. Karen's texts. These rebels think they're above rules. Time for a lesson. He got 10 years for assault. Patricia. Fraud and conspiracy. 4 years. $600,000 restitution. Karen. Accessory. 2 years probation. Banned from HOAs. Civil suit netted us $500,000. Bills paid. Home fortified. Victims shared the pot. Healing started. 6 months on. Willow Bend bloomed anew. Mabel ran the reformed HOA transparent. No enforcers. We planted a community garden where the old compliance office stood, symbolizing growth over control. Sophia started a support group for HOA survivors, turning pain to purpose. I still check cameras, but it's habit, not fear. Deputy Torres dropped by. You held back when most would have snapped. That's real strength. We stayed, reclaiming our space. Evenings on the porch. Sophia and I watched sunsets, laughing at the absurdity that forged us stronger. But here's the question. In a world where community standards mask power grabs, was the real villain the HOA rules themselves, or the Karens who wield them like weapons? True or false? Drop your take below, and let's debate who truly deserves the blame.